You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. And don't forget Ryan.
I'm here as well.
Ryan's here. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Look, guys, I want to say thank you for supporting us for all this time. I want to give my love to Bryce, my marvelous producer, Ryan, my main man right here.
Hello.
And Jason for these amazing edits and giving you quality shows. And I want to thank all my patrons for supporting me and sticking around. And you really, truly help. Without you, we couldn't do this show. So if you want to give back this holiday season, go to patreon.com/insideofyou. And anything counts. Every little bit counts. The next 2 weeks, we're going to have off. We've got to take a break. We give you 50 weeks. We got to take a little break. So we're back in the new year with a big guest. Very exciting. So, and a lot of great guests. I got a lot of great guests coming up. So thanks for all the support. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. And, today's guest, before I get going, I'll say a few things. If you want to go to my Instagram, @TheMichaelRosenbaum, and on the link tree, get tickets for Cruiseville. It's a Smallville cruise with me and Tom and a bunch of others. And you can do excursions. You can buy excursions with me to swim with pigs and cabanas and a whole bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's in June. And then the Smallville Creation Con is in September, I believe. And that's going to be fun. Ryan will probably go to that one. We did one in New Jersey.
That was fun.
It was amazing. And I'm on the Cameo also. And the Fart Book. The Talented Farter is still out for the holidays. Please get it. Barnes & Noble or Amazon. It's like $20. It's a great book. Check it out, please. For the love of God. And Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath is awesome. And a lot of people are loving it. It's just a cap full in your dog's water. It's odorless, tasteless, and your dog's breath is going to get better. I use it every single day. And the Inside of You online store is good for the holidays, for Leximus scripts and tumblers and all that stuff. And a lot of great stuff going on here. A lot of cons coming up in the new year, Ryan. Trying to sell some shows, trying to just keep it going. But I like doing the podcast.
Yeah, I like doing it too.
I do. It's comfortable. It's easy. It's not easy getting guests always. Getting guests that people want to listen to. So it's hard because everybody out there likes different people. You never know. Oh, I don't know who that is. But then, you never. So, I try to get the best guests I can get. And hopefully you guys just appreciate, more importantly, the quality of the interview.
You've been getting a good variety recently. Especially like the last two that have come out, they've kind of run the gamut of person.
Yeah. We've got Elijah Wood coming up.
Yeah.
We've got some great people coming up and great people today.
My God, Danny Trejo was right here.
Danny Trejo was right there.
He was.
You know who else was right there?
Huh.
What's his name?
Huh.
Lando Calrissian.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams was right there. Keanu Reeves was right there.
Yeah. In this spot.
Sitting where you're sitting. Your asses are touching.
Yeah.
We've got a great guest today, Rose McIver. I've known her for a while. She's a beautiful woman, inside out. Beautiful human being. iZombie, Ghosts, the list goes on. She has worked constantly, consistently, and she will continue to work. I love that she finally came on the podcast, and she was really great. So I think we should probably...
Yeah, she was sadly not here, but she was really nice to talk to.
Yes. So I think you're going to really enjoy Rose McIver. If you like the podcast afterwards, please subscribe and give us a chance. And all right, let's get inside of Rose McIver.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
I'm so glad you finally did it. I know you've been crazy busy and personally...
Professional.
I couldn't think of the word. I was like, workly.
Personally and workly. No, I feel so lucky in this insane climate. I will never, ever complain about having a job. My goodness, I'm very lucky.
Yeah, well, you've always like worked. You're always like, and it's not like you just like you're on some show. It's like you're carrying a show. You're like the lead in a show, and it's a hit show, and it's a commercial show. I was looking at this and I was just like, Ghosts and iZombie, Once Upon a Time you're in, Power Rangers. So at the cons, it's like there's so many at these conventions where you sign autographs. There's so many things people could ask you for.
I definitely feel like cons are my sweet spot because I've done so much genre stuff. I've been just lucky, man. So lucky to be employed. I've definitely had dead spells, your team, your reps always make it look like you've just been consistently working forever. I guess that's their job. But there've been spells and, I came out to LA from New Zealand and hadn't got work. I did a bazillion odd jobs and, I've definitely had those chapters too. But for the last few years, I've been really lucky with a steady stream and I love the genre world. Like it's just been, it was not an intentional move, but to fall into like, I guess I started in it with Xena and Hercules and things like that back in New Zealand, just because that was what shot there.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of kept happening, these sort of heightened, stylized kind of genre TV shows. So,
well, how did it all start? I mean, because you're from New Zealand. Do you get upset? First of all, say no, the word no.
Oh, I don't say it like you want me to. I say no. It's pretty boring. It's not the know you that you guys all.
No, but like sometimes I'll hear nar from like, I guess it's more Australian.
I say a lot of nut too.
No.
Nar.
Is that right? If I say nar.
Do you know what? No was actually my first word. My mum told me recently.
It was.
My brother's was more and mine was no. And that just tracks so perfectly.
Are you used to saying no? Are you someone who always says no to things?
No, I'm somewhat stubborn, I would say. I hope I disguise my defiance, but I can be, I feel like I do have a pretty good backbone.
You seem like, and this is not a bad thing, but someone who's, you're playful and fun. I've seen that side of you, but like you take your job seriously. You take, you're very cerebral. You're very, things sort of, I'm sure you're spontaneous enough, but are you in your head a lot?
I think I just will never take for granted that I get to do this job for a living. I think it's such a privilege. I think there are so many of my dear friends who are equally and more capable that aren't in regular work. And I'm aware of how hard an entire crew works. And I do think that, you want to have fun. You don't want to be too dour about it all, but it's like, it's my job. It is my job. And it's my job I'm being well paid and well taken care of. And I have to show up and be ready and be prepared. And I think it's kind of insulting to other people that are working very hard if you're not. So that, it's a balance because obviously I work in a lot of comedy, and in a comedy TV show, you need to find levity and rapport and joy and connection and looseness. And I definitely understand that. I just think there's room for both. Hopefully you can kind of come as prepared as you can. And then, I guess I do take my job seriously.
Did you prepare for this interview?
I've got my binder right here. It looks a lot like scraps of my husband's work paper, but
I'm sure you probably did you do any, like, knowing you might just go, oh, I want to listen to an episode before I do this.
Well, Rahul, I know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And we have so many of the same friends.
I know. We go to these things and we're like, oh, Danielle Panabaker. Oh,
exactly.
So, it's a little world it's fun. It's cool. It's nice to see people, especially at these cons. And it's just like not a clique, but sort of like a cool clique. Like it's not because clique, you think high school but this is sort of like a fun, group of just actors who are enjoying their time.
Totally. We never had summer camps in New Zealand. It's just not a thing, mainly because, our summer holidays are at Christmas. They're normally sort of family holidays. But anyway, summer camps aren't a thing in New Zealand. But I imagine that's sort of what it's like when you reconnect with the same group, I don't know, every 6 months or year or whenever it might be.
Yeah.
And, you have sort of a dense hangout for a couple of days, and then you abscond to your different lives. And it's got a summer camp feeling to me, the conventions.
Do you, if you look back on your childhood, because you started acting at a young age, right? Was it a fun family? Was it a fun family dynamic? Were you close with your parents? Was it like this unconditional love, perfect family thing?
Well, it's funny you say, I've just realized I've described myself as taking my work very seriously, but, I started when I was a kid and I was not taking it seriously.
Yeah,
then.
Of course.
You're just like, I was sort of 3 and 4 was just like.
You weren't sort of 3 or 4. You were 3 or 4.
I know, but was it work? I guess this is where the gray area is like, it was like a hobby. Like, somebody might go to a play along music class at the library. It was that level of commitment. It was some friends of friends were making a short film. And we needed a little girl to be in it. Can your daughter do it? Things like that.
Do you wish you felt it's the same way? Because a lot of times I do. Just the energy I had, the excitement I had when I was younger, when I was doing this, it feels like it's sort of not completely evaporated, but it's not like it was where I was young and naive and just like didn't care. Just I'd do anything and let's go. Do you think do you miss that part of you?
I remember some veteran actor describing it as like when you first book a job and you're counting the number of days that you're on the schedule.
Yeah,
and then the further on you go, you start counting which days you're off. And, there's a reality of it all, which is you assume more responsibility the older you are and you have commitments outside. And, there's definitely an element of just needing more time in your life than you can kind of have. So I understand the counting days off. But at the same time, I do try really hard. Something I always go back to is I remember being about 11 and thinking, oh my goodness, if somebody ever flew me to a location to be in something, anywhere, within New Zealand, if they flew me regionally, that's it. Like what an unbelievable success. Yeah, like very, very much so. And I still think that every time somebody books a flight for you, you're like, I'm worth somebody putting me on a plane and taking me to another location. And I don't know, that's it's like you get caught up and there's, as I said, the reality of the day-to-day work and you get used to things and you're acclimatized. But if ever I'm starting to feel at all exhausted or jaded by anything, I try and go back to that sense of, man, what an insane privilege that somebody values what I do enough to do that for me and to fly me somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, you asked what kind of family I'm from.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky. I'm really, really lucky. My parents are incredible. My brother's incredible. We're a family. We've all got stuff and we've weathered things over the years, but I've always felt incredibly supported by them. I've never felt, as much as I started acting as a child, I'm always hesitant to even talk about it in interviews because it makes my parents sound like stage parents, and it's just so far from the truth. Basically, my brother was scouted in a bank for a commercial when he was 3 or 4 or something, and my parents initially were like, oh no, I'm not sure. He was talking on a play telephone and some agent saw him talking and he was very verbal for a kid that age. And they were like, oh, would he be interested in this commercial? We're looking for a kid. And my parents were sort of, neither of them are performers at all. And they were kind of like, I'm not sure that's a good idea. But, at the same time, maybe that could, that could be something we put away for him if he earned, $1,000 or whatever it is. You could put that in a bank for him and you could start a little saving or whatever. So I think they did that when they let him do that. And then it was just sort of like a slippery slope because he's very, very capable, my brother. He's a brilliant actor. He doesn't work full-time as an actor or anything now. But I think from early on, it started like work begets work. And he got a reputation for being a kid in New Zealand who could do an American accent, for starters, which is puts you ahead of the pack when you're a local hire for American TV shows.
How do you do that when you're that young? It's like to learn the American accent. I mean, I guess things are easier when you're younger.
He's a musician. So he has a really crazy good ear, like a very, very good ear.
Well, so do you. I mean, I never knew you were from New Zealand. Because
Actually, since becoming a mum, like the postpartum of everything, my brain, I know I hear it does soften, like there's an actual reduced brain capacity when you've just recently given birth, because I guess all your focus goes to the newborn, which it should. But I notice my accent is worse. So that's a little fun fact for audiences. If you're listening to me in Ghosts season 4, I'm just having to work a lot harder to stay 100% on it. My brain just feels slightly softer, and I can hear
Were
when
you
I'm
frustrated?
off. Yeah, it's very frustrating, actually.
Because you could hear it. You could hear it while you're acting.
Yeah,
so you're like, I
exactly.
need another take. I could hear my accent.
Yeah. And hopefully not many have got through the keeper, but I definitely feel it even in a blocking or anything, a rehearsal. I'm aware that the sounds are not just normally flying out my mouth like they normally would.
Yeah. By the way, having a child, how much did that change your life? You talked about postpartum. I mean, that's a real thing. I've had friends who their wives have gone through it, and really, it can be really serious. You know?
Yeah. Well, when I say postpartum, then I was just referring to the time frame of like having given birth. But postpartum depression or anxiety, I think because I'm someone who's definitely wrestled with mental health stuff in my life, I was so braced for that. I was like, I assumed I would get hit hard and fast. And maybe because I had all my resources lined up and I have a great therapist and I have all the things, and I was really lucky. Maybe not because of that, but I felt like should that have happened, I would have been in the best position I could be to navigate it. And then I was very fortunate, and hormonally, I've actually felt, particularly that first 3 months, I was very lucky. I felt pretty good. I mean, I'm exhausted and all the
well, that's really
healthy.
good. That's really good. Inadvertent advice to women out there is like, to prepare with mentally, physically, like do everything you can. So if it does happen, it's not a complete shock. You're like, okay, I was thinking this could happen and this is happening. And how do I deal with it? Right.
I think in a similar way, when COVID hit, the pandemic, any of these sort of giant life events, I was so used to feeling quite fragile and having struggled with coping with uncertainty my whole life. When big uncertainties that actually warrant concern occur, I sort of already have tools at the moment that have been able to help me with those. I felt like, like the newness that a lot of people experienced around that shock and not knowing what the next few years looked like. I had one weird upside of being somebody who's had OCD and dealt with stuff is like, it felt familiar.
Yeah.
And not that I wish that experience upon anybody, but it's like, it's all about finding the upsides in whatever cards you dealt. And that was definitely a bonus for me, was being able to, and the same with postpartum, being ready and willing to face whatever mental health struggles were going to come. And then, maybe I was just fortunate because that happens too. Maybe it was just the hormones, but maybe having investigated some of those feelings and the concerns around that helped a little, I think.
Inside of You is brought to you by Lumen. I have a Lumen device. And you're asking me, what is Lumen? This is amazing. Lumen is one of the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that can help measure your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if it detects if you're burning fat or carbs, gives you tailored guidance to help improve your nutrition, workouts, sleep, and even stress management. All you do is just breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and it will tell you what it sees on your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so Lumen can tell you exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your wellness game. This is a game changer. It's this cool little device. It's this black little device you pick up every morning and you just blow into it. And there's a little ring that goes into the center, and then it detects everything that it needs to detect. And the next thing you know, you're making adjustments in your life.
Your metabolism is your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into fuel that keeps you going.
Because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic wellness translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep.
Lumen gives you recommendations to help improve your metabolic wellness. It can also track your cycle as well as the onset of menopause and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism in good shape through hormonal shifts, so you can keep up your energy and stave off cravings.
So if you want to take the next step in helping to improve your health, go to lumen.me/inside to get 15% off your Lumen. That is Lumen, lumen.me/inside for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring the episode. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Inside of You is brought to you by Masterclass. Guys, stop. Don't fast forward. Listen to me. Masterclass is the best gift idea ever. Don't just give your loved ones something they want. Give them something they want to be. With Masterclass, they can finally become a better cook, writer, entrepreneur, or artist like they've always wanted. That's the gift of Masterclass. You know, with Masterclass, your loved ones or you can learn from the best to become their best. Now, I'm not talking about some teacher who's going to sit there and tell you how to make something or do something. I'm talking about crafting a set of stand-up comedy with Judd Apatow, overcoming your improv fears with Amy Poehler. Masterclass is just, how about cooking? Cooking with Martha Stewart. The class really makes a difference. 88% of members feel that Masterclass made a positive impact on their lives. It is just amazing what they're doing here.
Plus, there's no risk. Every new membership comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Give your loved ones a year of learning with Masterclass. I truly think this, I can't believe I didn't come up with this. This is really awesome. I mean, growing up, just to have something like this available, I mean, technology. The idea is really brilliant. I'm really jealous of Masterclass. I think they've really nailed it here. I mean, that would be the perfect gift. Could you imagine waking up Christmas morning or Hanukkah morning or whatever the heck you're doing? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, yeah, you always wanted to do stand-up. Mm-hmm. Well, how about you learn from Judd Apatow?
That'd be cool.
It's awesome. Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50% off. Head over to masterclass.com/inside for the current offer. That's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/inside. Masterclass.com/inside. Well, I think, you talk about mental health, and it's like, this is what, this show, we talk a lot about mental health, and it really helps a lot of people. And seeing that, people like yourself who are in the public eye and, have a lot of success, and, that you also get anxiety or you get depressed. Oh, yeah. They're like, wait, what? And it's like, it's a human thing. It's not like an actor thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm mindful that when I say my first 3 months were great, it's like, by no means do I mean to mislead any other new parents. Like, it's insane. It's an insane chapter, and it's wild and unpredictable. And particularly the return to work, I had no idea how challenging I would find that, just in terms of the balance, because all of the things that you can logically plan for kind of go out the window when there's sorts of new attachments and stuff going on. So it hasn't been like smooth sailing entirely start to finish. And it's just been the particular postpartum first 3-month chapter where I know a lot of friends who've been hit drastically with an incredible crash of hormones. I think I still had a flood of something going on that kept me going through that.
Yeah. What do you do? I mean, obviously therapy, but like, is there something you do routine wise, or something that's just help you substantially get through anxiety or a bad time? Is there something that you do that might work for others or may just work for you?
Yeah, I think I do. I mean, when I run, I haven't been running. When I run, that helps me a lot. And I've heard theories that this could be completely, misconstrued and not inaccurate. But, like EMDR, where you stimulate both sides of the brain, left and right. You've done it. Yeah, right. I've done it too. But the same idea of stimulating the left and right, I have heard discussed with running, where if you run like I do without any information being ingested, like without listening to something, a podcast or music or anything, it's like the one time in my life I'm not uploading other information and I'm just thinking. And when you are stimulating your right and left sides of your brain with literally your feet hitting the pavement, it helps you to reroute potentially some of the ways that you're thinking about things you felt stuck with. So if you sit and stew and ruminate like I'm prone to do on a couch or wherever, you find yourself going down the same neural pathways over and over again. But if you encounter those thoughts while you're running, there's a theory, be it true or not, but that it loosens up and reroutes some of that energy. And I don't know all I can speak from is my own experience, that when I have been running regularly, I feel decidedly more balanced. And I'm not right now. And, there's no real reason for it. I'm just sort of out of the rhythm. I know I'm busy, but it's one of those things it's very important to try to find time for, and I should.
Yeah.
But I find that, running when I have done that in the past, that's been really fantastic. And sewing, I'm a big, I'm a bit of a textbook anxious person, like cross stitch, jigsaws, really fine motor, that
terrifies me.
Skill activity. What did you say?
That terrifies me. I remember in eighth grade we had to cross stitch for a project, and I just didn't know how to do it, and it was just awful. And it was actually one of those times I remember I was like, Dad, this is due tomorrow. He's like, you have to cross stitch an entire Santa Claus? When you're starting on this now?
What fantastic school did you go to? I didn't get anything.
It was, I don't know how. It was in the middle of Indiana, but this was due the next day, and of course I waited. And my father, I thought he was gonna, he goes, "All right, I'll do it." Mm-hmm. And I woke up and I went downstairs and I looked on the table, and my dad had a note, and it said he went to work. He says, I got to about 2:33 in the morning, and then I couldn't do anymore. And he got like 65% of it done, so I turned in 65% of a Santa Claus.
What grade did you get?
I got a D. Oh, but I was accustomed to to C's and D's, and I didn't do well. I mean, I had, look.
That's not motivating though. That's like saying you might as well do 0% of the work or 65% of the work if you're going to be a D either way,
Well,
I don't like.
I think that, a lot of people are very loose with the whole, ADD, ADHD. Oh, I have that. ADD, I have that. I have this, I have that. In this world, it's like everybody has this. Oh, he's a narcissist. Oh, like let's not throw these words around loosely. But any teacher or therapist or anybody you've ever talked to, I know I have ADHD. I know I've always had. I know I have some OCD. I know I have. It's just so obvious that, I'd be foolish to think otherwise.
And I also think, like, I was actually talking to a friend about that this week, the sort of sense that everybody's diagnosed with something. And I'm like, it's easy to want to be cynical about it and to sort of question the validity of certain people who say that. But ultimately, I'm like, I think we're just actually looking with more nuance into people's ways of going through the world and the things they struggle with, and whether sometimes things are mislabeled or not. Overwhelmingly, I think the benefit from understanding that you're not alone and that there are other people who are not processing in a traditional manner information, or that navigate things a little bit differently. I'm like, it's a complicated arena, and obviously there are medical professionals that are great and are getting clearer and clearer about how to diagnose and treat these things. But I feel like a lot of my friends have benefited from being able to go, oh, that thing that I have that always just made me feel outside the norm. Well, maybe there's a group of people who I do identify with a bit more, and that I do understand, I do feel like I fit in somewhere a bit more. So
I think you just have to, like, whatever is going on with you, everybody looks for an easy out. I certainly have done that and do that. But I think the most important thing is changing your ways, learning to build a new, healthier routine, learning to get up and go for a walk, go for a run, exercise, do all these things. They will absolutely help. It seems so daunting, and I know, to get started on changing your ways when you're so comfortable in them. And so you just ultimately have to do the work, period. If you don't do any work, nothing's going to change. If you're not trying to change, you don't just change. So anyway.
No, I just think, when you ask what are the things that I do to help, when there are hobbies, jigsaws, cross stitch, sort of meditative activities that are repetitive and somewhat mechanical. And when I sew, a lot of people are like, oh, that's so creative. And I'm like, it really isn't. And that's great. That's what I like about it is it's not creative.
Yeah, you don't have to be great. You're just doing it for you.
No, and that I do quite big, complicated looking cross stitches that are photographs and things, but there's zero creativity in the traditional sense. It's like I print out a pattern and I mimic, I follow, I obey every single rule on the sheet, and I can sort of switch off. And
but that's discipline. That's discipline in a way.
It's discipline, yeah, discipline, but it's not creative. And I think I am a creative person, but that's actually not the part that relaxes me. It's more the sort of I can rearrange rocks in a garden bed and it does the same thing and I feel great.
I feel the same way. My OCD kicks in and I just all of a sudden am cleaning out the entire closet. And I'll notice that. My girlfriend will say, she'll just look at me and she'll catch me and I'll go, oh, I was just trying to make excuses. Like, oh no, I was just straightening up. She's like, I know what you're doing. And I will just be fixated until it is complete. So there's times where I really, let me ask you this.
But it's also funny how different, without going too deeply into the OCD of it all, because, there's elements of it that are just working through personal stuff in my life. But I will say that it's not, when you talk about having OCD and everybody assumes it's just cleaning and it's just spraying and wiping. And I just find it is frustrating where it's like, I understand what you're describing as an OCD tendency because it's rearranging and creating order. And, but there's just so many different ways that it manifests. Like some OCD is purely cerebral. It's like just brain activity. It's doing the same thing. It's the same intention as somebody who is repetitively cleaning down a kitchen bench or washing their hands a million times or whatever. But it's you're craving that sense of order internally, and you're not looking.
You're right.
Your compulsions are internal.
My therapist says that. He says, if your house is clean and your car is clean and everything's in order, then you have the best chance of your life being in order. If everything's chaos, if everything's messed up, that's not good for your brain. If your brain can compartmentalize and the house is this way and the dishes are done in this, then you can focus. That's kind of how I work. So if I have everything around me that's, it's good, then I can focus. Then I can learn my lines. It's such a tricky
thing though, isn't it? Because it's so inconsistent. Like it finds things to latch onto and areas of your life. Like I don't need to reorder my own entire kitchen cabinet regularly, but if I go to my parents' house, I do. There's like, or there'll be something that warrants a mental fixation that's like a substantial thing that's happened in your life or whatever, that my brain will be able to go, oh, it's all right, whatever, that we don't know what's happening there.
Yeah.
And it'll be something else seemingly innocuous that becomes the target. It's such a, I can't pretend to understand very much of it at all.
It's different for everybody.
I've learned enough to know what tools I need to deal with it in my own life, but it is just like you start picking at the corner of it and trying to understand how our brains work in general. It's just like it's unbelievable.
I know. Was iZombie the first time you felt like this is the biggest thing I've done? What was the one moment in your life where you're like, okay, I've made it. I can tell I'm at the next level.
I think it's interesting because it's always incremental, as you know. It's like it's never like you go from not having a job to having done 5 years on a TV show. It's like you get a callback, you get an audition, then you get a callback, and then that seems like the big moment, and then you get the table read, and that's the big moment, and then you book the pilot, and that's the big moment, and then the pilot goes to series, and then it gets renewed, and on and on and on, and it's like it doesn't, I didn't have like I'm waking up in the morning, because for all I knew, iZombie was a pilot that was going to go away, like so many of them do. So it wasn't like when I booked that, I was like, here we go, I've landed. I've never really felt like that. I still don't feel like that. I feel like.
What?
No, because I don't. I feel like it's so, it doesn't stress me out. I think I've got to be one of the only actors on the planet that I've spoken to who's not like, oh my God, I'm scared I'm never going to work again. I've kind of always had a sense that one way or another I'll work again. It's on what and on what, at what scale, and is it paid or unpaid? Is it, something that gets a lot of viewers or not? Is it an indie movie that no one's going to see, or is it some network TV show that people
But I
do?
knew on Smallville, I knew that when I saw it, I knew this is going to be a hit. After I saw,
When you saw the pilot?
when I saw the pilot, I said, without a doubt, this is
Yeah.
something special. This is the first thing I'm going to do that people recognize. And I just knew it.
Right.
And I had never
It's
known
so
that
great.
before. But that's why I thought maybe after the first season of iZombie and people are coming up to you and you're like, oh, wow, look at the how many people watched this week, and we're building an audience. And, maybe after the first season, they're like, pick it up. And you're like, okay, I'm on something
guess,
that's
but, like,
special.
You got to remember, like, coming from New Zealand, being an actor there is no celebrity acting culture in New Zealand. It's just not. Like, the only celebrities that exist in New Zealand are, well, at least I'm talking about till I left, which is 13 years ago. I'm sure now there's social media celebrities and all sorts. But when I was there, sports people had a shot at sort of being considered a celebrity. But in terms of actors, you always had to have another job. It was always, it's a trade. It's like, it was, there's an artistic, wonderful industry there that I'm very inspired by and proud of and long to go back and work in. But it was never, I don't think anyone ever had a sense of having made it at home and being like, great, now I can chill. It's like, you never know whether you're going to have to take a job in some other department in film and television, or, in restaurants again. And I think that I'm not a cynic about stuff. As I say, it's not like I don't think I'll ever work again, but it's also not like I ever think, great, now I can relax and just coast. It's like, oh no, this is great. Where is it going next? I think I am a pragmatist about.
That's a great way of looking at things. I wish, I thought like that. I think now that I'm older, I feel like I don't take things don't just stick with me. If something happens and it doesn't work out, like we were so excited about this one project and everything was great, and all of a sudden complete change of plans, and someone bails out and the project's dead, completely dead, because this is the money. And I was like, how did that? What the fuck? And within a couple hours, I honestly somehow, maybe it's a protective mode that my brain does, I just go, okay, that's done. Let's go to the next thing.
Yeah,
I don't dwell on things that aren't happening the way that I would hope for. I try to have an open mind and think, okay, that didn't work. I've had so many things that work and many things that haven't, and there'll be something else, and move on. And that's one quality that I actually like about myself, unless I'm doing it subconsciously and there's some
I'm sure it's both, right? Because I'm sure I'm the same. I'm sure there's all sorts of big, giant question marks and existential things going on. Thankfully, they just haven't been ones I've had to address yet in my life.
Yeah.
It's more like, I think when you ask what has changed since having a kid, that has been a huge recentering. I mean, it's like my family is everything to me. My husband and my baby and my dog and my own, the family that I grew up with. It's like that. I feel so lucky that everybody's safe and good, and that, that really realigned my focus in a major way. It just kind of affirmed that is the stuff that I care about the most in my life, and that, we're very lucky to not have to work a job that I hate. And same with my husband. We both work in creative industries and get to do things we love. It's like, that's so wonderful to have a family we love and be able to work creatively. What an insane privilege.
Inside of You is brought to you by Shopify. I love me some Shopify. As you know, I've been using this for a long time. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, period. I have 2 podcasts, and if I'm selling any product, it's so simple to just create a page and get your product out there. It is so easy. There's a button that says add product. You put the picture there. You put a description. You put a price. It does everything for you. I don't know how everybody isn't using Shopify. It's home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going cha-ching.
So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between.
Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. I really don't know anybody else who does this. This is all I know. It's so simple to use. I've never had one issue with Shopify. And their customer service is great anyway if you did. But it's just something that I think, everybody, small businesses, big businesses, whatever you're doing, you should be using Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/inside, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/inside to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/inside.
The title of the book, The Talented Farter.
Yes.
That's been a theme.
Never.
This is a wonderful story about a little boy whose only gift, his only real talent is tooting. He can make his toot sound like everything you hear in everyday life. So little Michael loved Halloween, but nothing frightened his friends more than when Michael would stink up a good scare. Can you hear that?
Oh, I heard it.
It is a lovely story, and it's beautifully illustrated by my friend Heath, and Simon & Schuster's putting it out. It's going to be in tons of bookstores and available on Amazon. I'm so proud of it.
But I do think some of the things that helped were, for example, I did The Lovely Bones when I was 19, which is a Peter Jackson film that,
of course,
that I had done that shot outside New Zealand. So I guess there was a moment in terms of being on a plane to Philadelphia where I filmed most of my stuff.
You're on that plane. I've made
I was
it.
on that plane. I was on that plane, and I couldn't believe it. And I had a second ticket to bring someone. That was so cool. And anyway, when we went and filmed that, and I had a great experience and met lots of wonderful people. And after that film, I went back. I auditioned for a few things. I got an agent in LA, and there was a bit of coming and going and stuff. And I just sort of panicked about it all and shut down and was like, no, I think I just want to go back to university and do some other stuff. And I did. And I got my part-time job at, Glassons at Home, which was the equivalent of, Forever 21. And, it's like
Were you happy? Were you happy there?
I was.
You were?
Yeah, I was. It felt like the right thing at that moment. But it's funny. It's like I'd gone from our premiere for that. We met, I was shaking hands with the now King Charles, Prince Charles. And I'm like, it's this bizarre royal premiere in the UK. And then the next week, I'm just not the next week, but a couple of months later, I'm clocking in for my shift, in retail again. And it's just life. And I love that. I think it kind of always made me feel like
grounded.
I guess so. Without wanting to sound naff, because I'm anything but mentally sorted in my life. But in that respect, I have always felt quite lucky that I really love the life that I have, and I give credit for that to my parents, because I was raised feeling lucky from the start, feeling privileged.
I don't give any credit to my parents. I give credit to my grandparents.
There you go.
Yeah.
And to yourself and the work you've done.
Yeah, sure. And friends and people who believed in me and loved me. That's the most important thing. Tell me about your experience with, because I want to talk to you about, briefly at least, about iZombie, about playing Olivia, and then Ghost playing Samantha. And just like Samantha, right? Samantha.
Mm-hmm.
How do I?
Samantha?
Yeah.
Wait, are you unsure how you say it?
No, it's Samantha, right?
Oh, yeah, that's her name. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I just was remembering.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. Samantha. Sam and Liv. I mean, I am lucky that, and again,
2 completely different roles, which was fun.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
And I feel like that's been my life. That has been really cool. I've never fallen into feeling very typecast.
No way.
The variety I've had so far has been insane. I think I'd come straight from, I mean, once upon a time playing Tinkerbell, and then I had done Masters of Sex, where it was like set in the 50s, and she's sort of a naive, a naive 19-year-old or something I would have been. And then going on to iZombie, where I get to play this kind of tough, sardonic Rob Thomas classic. I was so proud of that character and the variety that I got to do within that. And then to go to Samantha now, who's like, she's incredibly accommodating, and she's a people pleaser, and it's just the variety, and being able to not just play those characters for a couple of months on a movie, but to be able to kind of dig into them for multiple years is wild.
Do you learn lines easily?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like you could learn a monologue right now, and at 2 p.m. or maybe at 5 p.m. your time, you could go and do it.
Well, again, the postnatal brain is definitely different for me right now. It's starting to kind of sharpen up again, I hope.
Coming through the fog.
But the immediate, dropping straight back in, it was a little bit surprising to me that finding words was not as easy. But I learned things. I don't even know. I've tried so many times to work out how they go into my brain. I do see visual chunks on a page, and I know I've got 3 chunks left in the scene, or, I'll kind of have that sort of way of learning things.
Yeah.
But also my favorite way of genuinely holding it is when it's in the space. Like, I'm very physical about, and when it's genuinely motivated by the action in a scene, the physical action, that's when the line's going very well. So on any projects where I've had the luxury of rehearsal, that's my favorite. Like doing theater, where you learn lines as you kind of discover the blocking. That's
right. Would you do a reboot of iZombie?
I'd love to.
You would.
I had the time. I don't know if people understand quite how much I had the time of my life.
Why didn't it continue on? Why did they cut it short? I mean, I guess you did 5 seasons, right?
We had 5 seasons, which is pretty good innings.
Yeah.
Our numbers were like fine, but they weren't insane. So I understand. It kind of ran its course.
Where did it air?
CW.
So why they could have tried to sell it to Netflix? I bet Netflix would buy that in a heartbeat.
Well, I guess part of it is that I had to play a different character every time I ate a brain, and I must have done about like 50 something, I think.
Yeah.
I was probably running pretty low by the end in terms of what I had left in my arsenal. Maybe if the conceit changed a little, or they relied on other actors, or we started like when Rahul was able to play different characters, and David Anders as well, that was wonderful. Like the more they leaned into that, the show I could see having a lot more life. But
yeah,
I was probably down to my final few ideas.
Yeah, but I mean, you did 75 episodes. That's a lot of TV. That's a lot of episodes. And then, I mean, Ghosts was it something when you shot the pilot? Did they do a pilot, or did they? Oh, so they did. Did you?
We shot the pilot. We did the table read for the pilot. I think it was March 13th, whatever the day was that the national emergency was announced in 2020 for COVID. So we did our table read, and then we were supposed to start filming on Monday, and we got told it'll be 2 weeks off, and then we all know how that story ends. So we came back in December, I guess, and we shot the pilot, and it was when 1 in 3 people in LA had COVID.
Lord.
That was the data, and we tried to film a pilot that was, I think, I don't know, 7 or 8 days or something.
And how many actors, especially during COVID?
10 actors.
And
it was like,
geez.
We were waiting at every turn. We thought there is no planet on which we're getting through this. And we got through it. And we were all really fortunate, and the pilot turned out great. And, our creators, the Joes, our showrunners, are so brilliant. And I think what they had imagined on the page, it's an adaptation from an equally brilliant, fantastic UK series, and those creators had built this concept that I think, even when I read the pilot, I was like, oh, wow, this is going to go. This does have more of a shot to me, or at least it would be a shame if it didn't go, because I can see where a series lives in this. There's so much to mine. There's so many flashbacks. There's all these different characters from history. So when the two Joes who brought the show to the US and created our show, when they reinvented it with iconic characters in American history, I just thought it's such an obvious choice. Like, there's so much to mine. They did a brilliant job. And then we had one of my dear friends, Trent O'Donnell, who directed the pilot, and I knew in his hands things were in good shape. He's an iconic comedy director from Down Under. If
That's not easy.
Colin from Accounts is his show. Have you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
My friends are going to kill me calling it Trent's show. It's created by dear friends of mine, Patrick Bramall and Harriet Dyer. It's their show. But the trio of them and Trent making Colin from Accounts together, that's like, wow.
But this Ghost seems like it's hard to shoot because you have 10 people on set a lot. Like you have these people kind of running in and out and watching and and then finally you get this ability to see them and all that. And, so it's like, it just seems like it'd be a lot of days, a lot of long days because you're shooting so much, or did they just do it in a way where it's just, it's the same as shooting, if there were 4 actors in the scene?
The pilot was a learning experience, as you can imagine, just figuring out how that worked and looked technically. But that's huge testament to our crew in Montreal. They are able to move so fast. And, it's like there's only a small amount of improv that we actually do on our show because it's just such a packed schedule. There's so much dialogue to get through. We do have to shoot things with and without ghosts, or avec et sans fantôme, as they say here in Montreal. And I think but the crew, the amount they have to anticipate and navigate when they are working with comedians and they're trying to, like, the boom operator has to be unbelievably dialed in to know.
Man,
we
here
might have
to this guy,
a line that's suddenly
her.
popping out, and they have to anticipate that, and they do, and they have to work with and without ghosts and framing people that aren't there and thinking about how that's going to translate. It's like the whole machine is so impressive to me. And I'm very fortunate right now. This week, actually, I get to direct for the first time on Ghosts.
What?
So I'm getting to work in a new capacity with our crew, who I already adored.
That's amazing.
In the production sense, but seeing them all in pre-production and what they're able to achieve, it's just like, it's wild.
You're going to have a blast because when I directed an episode of Smallville, I was nervous and all this, and I wanted to impress. I wanted to, show them that I could do it. But once you get there, it's unlike anything because it's a machine that's already working. Everybody knows. It's not like you're doing an independent movie where you're like, you don't know anybody. You don't know what they could do. Everybody's got a job to do. Everybody knows how to do it. You just focus on the scene, getting the, the good acting.
Absolutely.
That's
I think like the biggest mistake that somebody could make going into trying to direct TV is thinking they have to be an auteur about it. Like,
change it up.
Particularly in a show like ours, it's like people trust your collaborators, man. These guys know this so intimately. And of course it's fun. And I'm trying to bring some fresh ideas and, a bit of vision to how I'm doing it. But no, I'm not trying to reinvent this process. It's fantastic. It works really well. There's people who know things that I could never even fathom, about catching pitfalls before they happen and knowing that if we shoot this direction, this thing's going to happen. And it's like, you've just got to lean into trusting your team and listening and observing.
Well, congrats. I think that's freaking amazing. Inside of You is brought to you by Nutrafol. Folks, whether you're gifting to yourself or a loved one, give the gift of great hair growth this holiday season. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. I have friends that are using Nutrafol and they love the results. It's something that everyone's talking about. I think Nutrafol has really made a name for themselves because it's quality. It's like, what you're getting. thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men and women that are tailored to different life stages, such as postpartum or menopause, and lifestyle factors such as plant-based lifestyle, so you can get just what you need.
Physician formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients, Nutrafol helps support hair growth from within by targeting possible key root causes of thinning: stress, hormones, aging, nutrition, lifestyle, and metabolism through whole body health.
And while many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests final formulations to ensure their efficacy. Nutrafol's own clinical study, 72% of men saw more scalp coverage after taking Nutrafol Men Hair Growth Supplement for 6 months, and 86% of women saw improved hair growth after taking Nutrafol Women Hair Growth Supplement for 6 months.
Getting help building a hair growth routine is simple. Purchase online, no prescription required.
Automated deliveries and free shipping keep you on track. Plus, with a Nutrafol subscription, you can save up to 20%. You'll have access to free naturopathic doctor consults, and a Headspace meditation membership is included. Right now, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off any order. Enjoy free shipping when you subscribe. Go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code INSIDEGIFT. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code INSIDEGIFT. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code INSIDEGIFT. Do you do other accents besides American and Kiwi?
Do I do? I mean, I have done, and yeah, I do like pretty bad Australian accent. It's so funny because it's so close to New Zealand. That's much harder to me than.
What's the real difference between because you probably don't like when people go, "Oh, you're Australian." And you're like, "No."
It's funny. I don't care. I mean, I've made peace with that. My husband's Australian, so we've negotiated a great peace treaty, and we're in a pretty good place with it.
Who's better at football?
Australian accent. The biggest difference there's 2 vowels, and like the classic one that people use is the example is Kiwi say fish and chips, Aussie say fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
It's like a tighter sort of sound. Ours is a little wilder.
Fish and chips.
And then in their A's, and it's not absolute because there's different regions in Australia that pronounce things differently. But for example, I say dance, my husband says dance. That would be some of the bigger, more obvious differences.
What about a good Southern accent?
I've definitely thrown a dart at it. I don't know if I landed on the target. But I've done some Southern accents. I'm really lucky in Ghosts this season. I get to do Sam doing an attempt at a Southern accent for an episode that I can't explain why she does that yet. But
that's cool though. So it's kind of comical because you can't
do. It's licensed to be bad. Yeah.
Right. I like it. This is called Shit Talking with Rose McIver. These are my top tier patrons who get to ask you a question. Go to patreon.com/insideofyou. Thank you for supporting the show. Couldn't do it without you. And here we go. Blake B. And this could be rapid fire for you. So you can just boom.
As rapid as my brain will let me.
With her knack for bringing such diverse and quirky characters to life, how does she personally connect with each role to make them feel so authentic and relatable? Rapid fire.
Okay, I feel like we are all, like, as an individual person, me, Rose, has about 900 different characters in me. Like I'm a different version of myself with my parents than I am with my school friends, than I am with somebody I'm trying to get a job from. Like, I think that you've got so many different threads in you, and different character, I just try to really focus in on one thread of somebody that I already am.
Love it. Raj B. What is the funniest thing to happen on the set of Ghosts?
Oh man, this is like the hot seat that I can't handle because we laugh every day. I don't know. It's like I underline one example and something else. I guess one time when Devin, our Viking on the show, he's very obsessed with meat. He eats a lot of meat. He was an ex NFL player, and he's very concerned with a lack of protein. And one day, in an earlier season when we had some different caterers, we were shortchanged on meat, I would say. And on a meat option, and he absolutely lost it in the scene afterwards, and he raged out in a cut that I think ended up in the episode because he never gave an option that wasn't raging. And people will think Thorfinn was just losing the plot, but it was Devon furious that he hadn't had enough protein at lunch, and it was a quite unhinged level. And Devon, I say that with love, but he knows.
My God! All right, Flirtatious B, what's your favorite horror creature? Zombie, werewolf, vampire, gillman, etc.
I mean, I guess I have a real soft spot for zombies now. I feel like they always get the raw end of the deal. They look like the bad guys. So I'm
Name this movie. Name this movie. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Oh, I'm really bad.
I'll give you a hint. You were holding a copy in iZombie.
Night of the Living Dead?
Yes, correct. Lee G, I think you are the first Power Ranger Michael has had on the podcast. Any tips for what makes a good morph movement?
Oh, man. I'll tell you what makes the best Power Ranger stunt sequences, and that's their stunt doubles. Every time I put a helmet on, it's not me. It's some incredible athlete who is doing all sorts of tricks. So, I took a swing at the morph movements and stuff, but I'll tell you the best secret to good action sequences is a great stunt person. I trust the pros.
Absolutely. Is it true? Like somewhere I heard that all the Power Rangers, at least all the originals or whatever, none of them ever got residuals. They just got bought out.
I don't know. I wasn't SAG then. I don't think so. I'm not.
You don't get residuals from Power Rangers.
No.
Nah. You said it. You said nah.
I said it. You asked how I say it. Yeah. Nah.
Little Lisa, who inspires you to be a better person?
My daughter.
Really?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Just the fear of falling short for her. I want to be a realistic mum who is flawed and has, I want to introduce her to the fact that she doesn't have to be a perfect person early on either, but it sure as hell makes you want to be one.
What's your biggest fear, or one of your biggest fears?
People trying to work on it still, but people not liking me.
Really? You still have that feeling like you want people to like you?
Yeah.
I think we all have that. I mean, I've had that my whole life. It's just like you want, and it drives me crazy because you just have to be yourself and be kind. And if someone doesn't like you, then.
Exactly. I can work through it all theoretically, and I can see the logic that you cannot please everyone. And there are, of course, lots of people who don't like me. It's still my fear. It's still the thing that I don't know quite how to live with sometimes.
What did Bob Dylan say? You can please some of the people some of the time. You can please a few of the people all the time, but you can't please all the people all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, but you still enjoy it. You still enjoy the business. You seem like someone who always has to be working. Do you think if you're not working, it kind of drives you crazy?
So actually, that's another thing. Of all of my shortcomings that I'm cripplingly aware of, I do feel confident that I actually go pretty well when I'm not working. Like when I did navigate the pandemic, I became an obsessive gardener like that. I am a hobbyist. I can find plenty to fill my time. I don't. I love work, and I'm lucky that it's come up for me. And when great jobs come up, that's awesome. But I also, no, I don't panic with time by myself. I quite like time to pursue hobbies.
What's next? Anything next other than ghosts, of course?
I would love to do something in New Zealand. I'm really craving going home, New Zealand or Australia, spending some time on that side of the world, being around our families there. So I'm really looking creatively for something that could pull me in that direction. And what else? Yeah, being a mum and taking my dog for walks, just some of that stuff for a bit, I think. Most is a very busy schedule. It's great. It's wonderful, but it's 7 months of the year. So when I'm not doing that, there's lots of time. What did you ask about?
What kind
my
of
dog?
dog do you have?
The important territory. I have a dog that I love so much and has been one of my greatest teachers because I want her to be liked by everybody, and she's not. She's She's not a people pleaser. She does not give a shit what other people think. She's so protective of me and my husband and baby. And she loves us. And when somebody's in the pack, she's very, very good to them. But I would say she is not naturally human socially inclined. She loves other dogs, but she doesn't trust people.
How's your dog's breath?
Oh my, are you kidding? Have you been bugging my house? This is the talk of the week at our house.
I have a product called Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. And I was going to ask you, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to send it to you.
No, Mike, you don't understand. This is insane. We took our dog yesterday to get her teeth cleaned for the first time. She's a year and a half. And we were talked into getting her sedated to have her teeth cleaned.
Right.
You're a dog person.
Oh, yeah.
Is that normal?
Yes, they have to, for the most part. There's some people that will not put the dog to sleep, but if your dog isn't a people person, definitely they would have to sedate the dog. But you could try products, but if that doesn't work, it just really depends how severe it is, and if the vet's saying we really recommend this. You never. I
don't think you understand. We came from a world where that's the most insane thing any of us had ever heard. I mean, we're so privileged to get
it does occur. It does. They do say that, like, if you want a real cleaning for your dog, we have to sedate the dog. I've heard that.
So we did that. I wish I had this puppy breath spray too.
Well, I'm just going to send you this. It's all you do is add a little cap full in your dog's water, and just be consistent. And it's odorless and tasteless, so your dog doesn't taste it. And it's got a little picture of me on
I feel like I'm on the Truman Show right now. This is so bizarrely, like, we actually had a very rough night with our dog last night too, who has a very upset stomach. And we've had a challenging week. But this dog breath is.
I'm sending it to you. I'm sending it to you. You can also get it on Amazon, but I'm sending this to you because you're a guest on the show. So listen, this has been awesome. I really am so grateful that we got to spend a little time together, and I know you're busy, and the fact that you took some time out to be with me is just awesome. And
I'm really, really grateful you had me on. You always have very nuanced, interesting conversations with people, and it's a privilege to be here. Thank you
so much. And I'm going to send you stuff, so I'll get your address after, not on the air. And,
woohoo!
And all my love.
You sure you don't want me to give it now?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. People are they'll probably like that.
555
588 2300 Empire Today.
You got it.
It's a commercial. You know that commercial?
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
All right, fine. All right, you're the best. All my love to you and the family, and keep kicking ass.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate it.
Bye. She's great. Well, just a great personality, so easygoing.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell she's easy to work with.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like very even keeled. I mean, I wouldn't want to cross her. I'm sure she probably has a little fire, but I loved having her here today. Thanks for listening. And I want to thank the patrons again. I'm about to read all the top tier names have been here for a long time supporting this podcast. I always say it's like if people pay for a streamer, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're $14.99 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody just gave $1.99, $5.99 or something for the podcast, you get 4 episodes a month, and then all the ones that in the background in the past,
making it even $2.
Yeah, I mean anything. But anything helps, and I really appreciate you. And I want to thank the top tiers here who get boxes every few months from me and letters and all that good stuff. So thank you and happy holidays. And I just appreciate everybody who's if you just listen to the podcast, that is enough. I just love that you listen. So thanks for giving me a shot. Nancy D, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Brian H, Niko P, Rob L, Jason W, Sophie M, Raj C, Jennifer N, Stacey L, Jamal F, Janelle B, Mike, and Eldanzsupremo.
99 more, Santiago M, Madi S, Kendrick F, Belinda N, Dave H, Brad D, Ray,
Dave Hole,
Brad D, Ray H, Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D, Rhiannon C, Michelle A, Jeremy C, Eugene and Leah.
Eugia. Mm-hmm. The Salty Ham, Mel S, Eric H, Oracle, Amanda R, William K, Kevin E, Jarrell, Jam and J, Leanne J, Luna R, Mike F, Jules M, Jessica B, Kaylee J, Charlene A, Marion Louise L, Romeo the Band, Frank B, Jen T, April R,
Randy S, Claudia, Rachel D, Nick W, Stephanie and Evan,
Stefan,
Charlene A, Don G, Jenny.
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 Jenny B.
Jenny B. 76.
Tina E.
Tina E. NG Tracy. Keith B. Heather and Greg.
Grether.
Ellie K.
Benji Jammin, Pierre C. Sultan, Ingrid C. Christina S. Murphy C. Dave T. David L. and Jill. We love you. Couldn't do this show without you. That's for damn sure. So don't forget it. And thanks for supporting me and listening to me every week. And that's about all I got for you. So from the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California, Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Ryan Taylor.
Little wave to the camera. Hey, be safe this holiday season. Have a great time. Enjoy life. Be present. Connect. Love each other, for crying out loud. And be good to yourself. I will see you before you even know it.